I think that the big change in India-Israel relations came with this, I think, foreign policy of dehyphenation, in the sense that India is looking not only at Israel, by the way, in different countries, and saying, look, we have interest with the country. The fact that the country has other issues with others, it's not ours to solve or deal with. We are dealing with what we can do together. And I think this was a huge game changer, because it really separated, while many countries put the Palestinian issue, especially in Europe, in the West, as a precondition for doing things with Israel. Smart countries said, well, you know, the Palestinian issue is there, it's probably going to stay for a while, and Israel can, you know, good relations with Israel can help our own population and do better. I think India came with this, it was the first one, but also the Abraham Accords is based on the same idea. It's not that they are deserting the Palestinian issue in any way, not UAE. They now led in Security Council an effort to help the Palestinians. It's okay. We also are mature enough in our relations and our thinking to understand that what we do together, what we can do together, what is a joint interest for the well-being of our populations. And so many copied, I think, this approach of India, of being very practical and pragmatic about your foreign policy. Whatever I can get, I can get. What I cannot help or mend or change, it shouldn't be an impediment for me for doing what is good for my people. Also, when we grew up, my age, the old people, we had one channel in Israel, and Friday afternoon was the peak time before Shabbat is coming in. So every Friday there was alternately or an Arabic-speaking film or an Indian film. So you would see this culture when you have one channel and everyone watches it because there is no alternative. We grew up a lot with Bollywoody or Indian style of culture also. We were exposed to it, let's say. Adani paid in full, the Adani Group paid in full the cost of the Haifa port. They even have money now in the part of the deal was that the port had already money for development. There is money there for development. I think that it's the core business of Adani, where what he knows how to do, and it's all the interest both of the Adani Group and of Israel, of in India, and everyone who wants to make this world working well, to have this port, and I believe it will be working very, very well. I don't see any other reason not to. Yes, the Adani Group are looking for more projects in Israel, and I hope they succeed in also getting. I spoke before, I think, on the fact that in the beginning, that India is becoming from a regional superpower to a world superpower. So India is, I think it feels comfortable enough and strong enough to start looking beyond the immediate, you know, countries usually look at their immediate issues. And when you are comfortable in looking beyond and also sending support to countries and also sending ships somewhere, it's very good. We want our friends to be close by with us. We feel very comfortable with India. So, and that's why, as I said before, Indian controlled port in Israel, in the Mediterranean, is something that we are welcoming. We would love India to be a member of Security Council as soon as possible again. We enjoy the fact that they were before, because having friends in these places is very important for us. And I think, you know, things are going quite well on this. The Kashmir files, at the end of the day, it's a thing that I hope not to go into while being here, because it's an internal thing. It's an internal bleeding element story, I think, of Indian society. I can say that, unfortunately, if you remember in the Goa Film Festival, we were dragged in because a certain guy of Nadav Lapid, a guy of Israeli born, living in Paris, by the way, criticizing Israel also all the time, came and said what he shouldn't have said here, I think, and shouldn't have interfered, as I said, with the thing that is internal and a bleeding, open bleeding wound. So my reaction, others, was to distance ourselves totally from the way he referred to it. And I really think that we should refrain from going into this topic. It's an Indian internal topic, and, you know, each one has his own topics. He has to deal with them internally. He doesn't need any advice from outside or support. It's yours, and we respect that. India is trying to solve you know, you have to be a magician to solve the Palestinian issue it's an issue that is complex and it takes time to. I personally don't think that the conditions are right now to solve on the ground. So we have to be very realistic, because if you put an effort which is useless because the conditions are not there, it's a wasted effort. And it will take time, I think, to go there. You know, as long as there is a regime who calls for the destruction of Israel and trying to acquire, I don't see it happening. Look, we had wonderful relations, as you remember, during the time of the Shah. We had outstanding cooperation with them. We had an ambassador in Tehran. So these are different times. Since the Islamic Revolution, Iran is not the same Iran, and the relations, unfortunately, are not the same. I think that there is a lot of sympathy in both countries towards the peoples, within the populations, with the Iranian population also towards Israel, and in Israel also towards the Iranian people, not the regime in any way. There is no civilian use, known civilian use for any enrichment beyond 20%, by the way. Around 20% is the maximum you can do anything that's civilian. Beyond that, it's all military. And in order to reach the 90%, the 80 plus and 70s, you have to change configuration also of centrifuges many times. So in order to make it to enrich more. So it looks like a clear military use, effort, direction. I think it should be worrisome to everyone, because the combination between nuclear capabilities and an extreme regime as we find in Iran is a very dangerous combination, I think, for everyone, for Israel especially, because Iranian officials, including former President Rafsanjani and others, spoke about the fact that one bomb can destroy the whole of Israel, and we understand which bomb they speak. We are small, but again, conventional bomb, as big as it will be, will not destroy Israel. So we understand when people tell us that they, want to destroy us again and again, and they are trying to acquire weapons that will give them the potential to do that, we take it very seriously. And we, as we said in the past, we will do whatever we think is needed to stop it. Unfortunately, there is incompetence of the rest of the world. We said from the start that JCPOA was not giving the assurances. It was not giving enough assurances when it comes to the ability of the Iranians to continue and enrich. And now they are out of the deal, so it's not even relevant. And I think everyone has to be very conscious about what an Iranian nuclear weapon will do to the Middle East. Just think of it, it's the first Shiite nuclear weapon. It can do an arms race beyond speaking about Israel, okay? It can be an destabilizing element, as it is. Iran is the most destabilizing element in the Middle East. Look at where they are today. Where there are problems. So they are in Iraq, they are in Syria, they are in Lebanon. All these countries are, they are in the Sinai, they are in Yemen with the Houthis. Every place you look, and they are involved, there is instability. And it's not coincidence, because that's the method. So I think that everyone should be very much alert. It's not about Israel. We know how to protect ourselves at the end of the day. We are not the issue here. The issue should be wider interest of everyone to keep stability in a crazy world we live in. And I hope countries will resort to that. India and Israel are cooperating on counterterrorism very deeply. We'll not go into details. A lot is involving, of course, know-how and technology and everything, but this is not really the place to speak about it. It was also before 26/11, especially after 26/11. I think we share the same fears, the same threats in some ways in the world, and we work together in order to try and avert them. NSO. It's I think in the same line of. I'll continue by the chronology. NSO is a technology that was developed in Israel in order to fight counterterrorism and organized crime. But counterterrorism was the main idea there, and it's a private company which developed this technology. NSO is a private company. Israel took stringent measures that no other countries in the world, I think, or very few other countries in the world, I should say, took. In order to export a software, they have to go through export controls. And we don't allow them, as very strict export controls, we don't allow them to sell to any non-state actor, and also not to all state actors. and the use is to be very specific for counterterrorism and fighting organized crime.
किसको मिली बात, किसने उड़ाया धुआं, दिन भर खेलों की दुनिया में क्या क्या हुआ, हर खबर जिस पर आप करते हैं बात, छोटी से छोटी जानकारी लाएंगे हर रात। लेकर आया है ललन टॉप, स्पोर्ट्स की खबरों का खास शो स्पोर्ट्स टॉप, सोमवार से शुक्रवार रात 10 बजे।